In last week's video, I started a kitchen bench with storage. I showed you how I made the base and these plywood storage boxes. In this week's video, it's going to be a lot more angles, mostly lap joints, where I'm going to show you how I added the decorative trim to the plywood boxes as well as the face frame. Now the face frame, I wanted it to be really sturdy. That's why it's all interconnecting lap joints. And that is because I know who's going to be using this, and while they're lovable, it's for 3 rambunctious young men, and I wanted it to be as sturdy as possible. It's not very often, but this was one of those projects that while I was making, especially that topside face frame, I just kept thinking to myself, there has to be an easier way to do this. Even though I was happy with how it turned out, I'm looking forward to the other woodworkers that watch the channel if they have any different ideas on how to approach it. But before I get to that, I'm putting shaker style trim on this entire thing. One of the good buys at Lowe's is that little 1/4-inch oak board that I showed you. They're like $3 and change for a 4-foot piece. They're pretty true to dimension, and I could just go and buy a bunch of them and slap them on the outside of this. So I cut my molding. I'm going to replace that eventually. So the pieces I have, I cut to fit so that I know I could get it my corners perfect. And then I just set my radial arm saw up for lap joints. You're basically setting it to the width of the piece so that when those two overlap, there's no overhang, and then halfway down whatever your thickness material is. So this is about a 1/4-inch thick red oak, so I'm going about an 1/8 inch down. And then for especially these square pieces, it's really easy. The nice thing about lap joints is the dimension's going to be true. You don't have to account for depth or like tongue and groove doors, accounting for the thickness of the stiles. My outer perimeter is going to be at my exact size, and for essentially what I'm making, even though it fell over there, it does hold itself together. So like I said, pretty easy. I measured the height and the width of that first portion. I'm starting with the middle. I could cut those 4 pieces, just add laps to the corner because you saw I had my test piece, and then glue them together. Now, like I said in the first video, I don't know if this is going to be painted or stained yet. So just to be on the safe side, to attach all these pieces, I'm not using glue. I don't like, even though this is really thin material, I don't like to glue any sort of hardwood to plywood. I've had problems with that in the past, so I'm going to use a little pin nailer and just pin nail everything so it's hidden. Now, one of the problems with angles is, and I didn't take this into account, when I added that thickness of material, it made the 2 edges extend past my box. I filmed this, but my camera glitched out, so that was the setup I had for it. I just cut an angle on the 2 edges that ended up saving me so my box wasn't oversized, and then I could continue. But little stuff like that always pops up on these sorts of builds. Troubleshoot it and keep going. So now the problem is, because I trimmed that, now that intersection is thinner than what is going to be my other intersections. So for the next 2 panels, the 2 fronts, and I'm working on these interchangeably, but it's the exact same process. I actually made them a little oversized because not only am I going to miter the edges where the corners are, but I also now have to trim that piece that's going to butt up next to my middle portion, and that's because you could see in the photo it's a little too thick. So all I did was, my measurements are true for this whole thing. The middle box is 20 degrees, the 2 outer boxes are 25, so I could set that angle and cut these pieces. Now this was one of those things where I cut a bunch of these long bevels on all of my pieces. My fingers admittedly are too close to comfort on the table saw. I should have used a push block or something else in order to get these cuts done. No excuses, I was rushing and just wanted to get this portion of the build done, but I do want to point that out because I know I'm going to get comments about it in the comment section. But after I made that cut, you could see now they butt up against each other much nicer. And before I continue, I make sure as I go I'm screwing these cabinet boxes onto my base. That's because if these things shift even a little bit, it'll throw all your cuts off. So you want to make sure what you're working with is secure and won't move before you continue making cuts, especially these edge miters. So like I said, this was going to be a 45. I don't love these long mitered bevels on edges, because unless everything's perfectly square, they have a tendency to not want to line up. But I think because this material was so thin, these corner miters actually ended up working out pretty nicely, and I just cut those before doing the sides. Now where this meets the wall, I gave myself a lot of play in the back of the cabinet, so I don't have to worry about none of this not fitting, because if it doesn't fit, you're kind of screwed when you're building like this. But for the back, what I did do was I bought a thicker piece of that oak, and I'm giving myself a really heavy scribe line, about 1/2 inch, so that back panel on my sides is going to overhang my frame and be thicker, so I could scribe it in space. Sometimes I allot myself about 1/4 inch, but I've actually been screwed on job sites, it's not enough, so I went with a heavy 1/2 inch. If I don't need it, that's fine, and if I do, it's obviously there. So I glued up those side panels the exact same way. I just did a thicker lap in the back to account for that thicker piece of material, and then once everything was all dry, I could add the exact same miter bevel to this corner. And like I said, I was really surprised at how nicely all of this lined up. Like I said, especially with this material, you have to hold it flat on the table saw so you don't get any sort of hairline gaps, but it held together nicely, and you could see how I have that thicker piece on the back side of my cabinet for scribing. Now the mitered corners I will glue together by trying not to get any of that on the plywood box, and then I could just pin nail everything together, add some blue tape, and let it all set up. So now you could see with that detail on the outside of my boxes, it's lining up perfectly with my base. So my baseboard is now going to be flush with everything, the base and the upper cabinets. And that is a little bit of a close-up of those miters and what everything looks like up to this point. So I made these a little bit tall. I didn't want to worry about having to get them perfect. So before I continued with anything else, I just used a flush cut bit in my router. This one has the bearing on the bottom, so that bearing rides along the plywood and it'll give me an exact replicated edge on the front of my paneling. Now for the upper part, and this was the part that just felt harder than it really had to be, I'm using once again red oak. This stuff I get from Lowe's. I'm ripping it into, I ended up getting 3 pieces out of that sheet, so it was about 2.5 inches. And this is not the cheapest way to buy lumber, but I was at the store. This stuff is planed. It's a perfect 3/4 inch. I don't have to join it or plane it in the shop. So sometimes it's worth it if you only need a board, which is what I needed. So for the edges, same process. Square laps are going to be really easy. I cut my sides so that it's going to be flush in the back. I gave myself a hair bit of an overhang, like maybe a heavy 1/16 of an inch on the sides, and I could cut that in while I'm doing the install, but I wanted to give myself some leeway there. And then I could just lap my corners. Where the squares are, it's pretty easy. I once again just set it up in the radial arm saw, dialed it in till I got it perfect, and then I could pop those out pretty quickly. It's the angled portions that become difficult. I wanted this to be one entire piece, so it was really strong, because you're going to be putting essentially doors on the top of this with cushions, and you're going to be sitting on the top of this. So I wanted all of my segments to sit on top of where the plywood frame would be to hold it up. But I also, like I said, instead of using hardware, decided to go with laps. It's just going to be the strongest joint. Now to cut the angled laps, I decided to do that on the table saw. It's a lot easier to just get your angle and do that with the crosscut sled. All I did, like I said, my two angles are 20 and 25 degrees. I just took a scrap piece of ply to the miter saw, cut a 20-degree angle on there, and then I could just slide my piece and cut all of my kerfs off of that angled piece that I have attached to the crosscut sled. So all I'm really doing is what you saw in the previous clip. I'm just lining up my pieces, marking them on either the top or the bottom depending on where that lap needs to be cut, and then I can just eye it on the table saw and remove that material. So you can see now my pieces are going to fit perfectly, and I'm kind of building this as I go, starting with this one edge. So I got the front pretty much fleshed out, and I have a center mark on this piece which I end up using throughout the entire build. That center mark is where I'm going to line everything up, because the middle portion is also going to have material coming into this. So where my two edges meet, I have to do halves, not full sections of that oak. So I just use that center line to mark where the half of that would be. I can line it back up, mark bottom. You can see my two tick marks on the bottom, put my angle across there, and then remove that material on the bottom on the table saw, and then have it slide into place. So once you know your angles, and at this point I have the radial arm saw set up for the square laps, and I have the table saw set up for the angled ones, it went pretty quickly, but still getting all that stuff dialed in can take a long time. I am obviously not filming that because it's quite boring to do even in real life, but that's kind of the process I used. So then for this bottom portion, I ran into the problem where the piece that I'm putting across the front is going to intersect the piece that's going across the side at an odd angle. I didn't want to remove a bunch of material, so for this one in the front, what I decided to do was kind of line it up and cut it, and then I would come back and decide how I would finish it off once I did that front piece. So you'll notice I'm removing some material more so than I need to for this, and then I'll come back and cut it down. So you can see when I kind of aggressively zoomed in on this, how that is going to line up with my piece. So then that is what that looks like there, and it fits in the corner, and then it's going to fit snugly in the middle. And you can see how I have my center marks lined up, and I use that for pretty much the whole process, lining up those centers. This one's off at this point, but you'll see in a later clip when I slide it that everything lines up. So there's that center mark on that piece, and everything is lining up perfectly. And then this is the smaller angled compartment. The larger angled compartment, I'm not going to film it. It's the exact same process. The angles are just going to be cut on a different side of the blade on the table saw. Really simple process. I just took the angled piece off and screwed it to the other side of the miter portion there. So that is going to be the one side, and then this is the completed second side, and then I could join my middles at this point. So that is what that all looks like. Like I said, everything's lined up on where the partitions and that plywood's going to be, so none of these joints will be sitting over air. They'll all have a support underneath of them, which is important. And then I didn't have quite enough material to do the back one, but luckily since I have laps set up, I just cut a large lap on two pieces and can join it that way. And like I said, if this was floating over space, I probably wouldn't have done it that way, but it's going to be sitting on top of the plywood, and I don't have to worry about it. So for the piece in the front, once again, the marks I'm putting on here are lining up with that center mark on the piece I already have sitting on the base. Like I said, I'm building this off of the base because the base is the exact size of my template. And then I could just cut this one down to size, and that's how that's going to fit in the middle there. Could go and add where I have to cut off the laps, which once again is not going to be a full lap. It's just going to be half of the thickness of those middle pieces, so it could slot into place there. You can see how I kept my edges long because I'll come back and trim those down. And then for this one, since I was doing the middle and I have to keep switching angles, I ended up cutting a second angled piece, so I have one on both sides of the blade, and I could cut both orientations of those angles at the same time by just flipping to the other side. Really simple way to cut angles on a crosscut sled. Just cut that angle on the miter saw and then add it to the sled. So you can see by marking, I'm going to have to remove a little bit of material, and unfortunately my camera focused on my head, but basically at this point it became apparent I had to cut off the rest of the excess material from that original piece I was talking about that I didn't know how I wanted to deal with it. So that was easy enough to do on the radial arm saw. And then I just decided to cut this weird notch out of my two pieces. It's not going to serve much of a structural purpose to have that little triangle left over, but like I said, I don't know if this is going to be painted or stained. Even if it's going to be painted, I didn't want a gap in that piece, so I cut out that weird notch on both pieces. And then you could see once it lines into place that everything fits nicely. That little triangle is a little bizarre, but that is how I ended up problem solving that bottom portion. The top is going to be a little bit easier because the angle isn't as compounded, and I just ran that across the back, used a level to line it up with the backer so that I knew it was flush on the back, and then with that mark I could just remove that little flange of material that needs to come off. I transferred my angle to the radial arm saw. It was a little bit easier to cut it on there because I could see my mark. And then that is what that looks like. And now you could see, once again, lining up the center mark on the top of this piece is going to show me where I need to cut it. It's the same angles I've been working with this whole time. The center is 20 degrees, so I know it's 20 degrees on both sides. I can trim that down. Now I could go and mark the bottoms, cut the laps on the bottoms, and add it. That was the basic process I came up with. In order to keep it true to the base, which is the frame I'm working off of, I really did do each corner at a time and work my way around the whole piece, and that is what it looks like finished. So I have an exaggerated front on this because I'm going to have to trim it down, but in general that's how it all fits together, and the back lines up almost perfectly with the back of the base. While I was doing this, I realized it probably would have been easier to just make the entire thing oversized and then flush cut it to the base or scribe it down in the space, but c'est la vie, you live and you learn on these projects. And then the glue up was a little more difficult because all these angles put glue on them, they want to start sliding around. So I basically elevated the base on some stack supply, and I just worked my way around the frame, gluing and clamping each one of my laps. That ended up working out pretty well. And then I could just go through once this is dry, and like I said, I had some overextensions to make my life easier. Flush cut bit, and I could just trim all that down so everything's flush. Could sand this. There's still a little bit of work left to do on this, but that is basically where I'm at, and this is almost done. I basically just have to build the compartments for the top.